The morning sky over Taeyang 7 burned red when the ships arrived. Daewon stood in his kitchen pouring coffee when the first alarm screamed across the colony. His daughter Bora sat at the table, her spoon halfway to her mouth, eyes wide with sudden fear. She was 8 years old. She had never heard that sound before. "Daddy, what is that?" she asked. Daewon moved to the window. Through the glass, he saw them. Ships made of crystal and light, hanging in the atmosphere like terrible jewels. They were beautiful. They were wrong. Every instinct he had from 20 years in the military told him to run, to hide, to protect his child. "Go to your room," he said quietly. "Lock the door. Get under your bed. Do not come out until I tell you." Bora knew her father's command voice. She ran. Daewon grabbed his pistol from the safe and moved toward the door. Outside, people were screaming. The sky lit up with beams of white light. Wherever the beams touched the ground, people vanished. Not killed, not burned, just gone. He ran back inside. "Bora!" he shouted. No answer. His heart stopped. He kicked open her bedroom door. The window was broken. A white residue covered the floor, glittering like frost. His daughter was gone. Daewon fell to his knees. The pistol dropped from his hand. Around the colony, 12,000 parents discovered the same horror. Their children had vanished in beams of light, leaving only strange crystal dust behind. The attack lasted 6 hours. When it ended, the crystal ships rose back into the sky and disappeared. Not a single adult had been harmed. Not a single building damaged. They had come only for the children. Hana arrived at their home 3 hours later. She was a scientist working at the research center 20 miles away. When the alarm sounded, she had tried to drive home, but the roads were blocked. She ran. By the time she reached the house, her legs were bleeding and her lungs burned. She found Daewon sitting on the floor of Bora's room, holding their daughter's stuffed bear. "Where is she?" Hana whispered. Daewon looked at his wife. His eyes were empty. "They took her. I couldn't stop them. I tried, but they took her." Hana collected the crystal residue in a sample jar. Her hands shook, but she worked carefully. She was a xenobiologist. She studied alien life. Maybe this would tell her something. Maybe this would help her find Bora. Maybe this would help her kill whoever took her daughter. Across the colony, similar scenes played out. Parents searching empty rooms. Parents holding their children's toys. Parents making promises to the empty air that they would bring their babies home. Admiral Taemin arrived on Taeyang 7 2 days later. He commanded the human fleet in this sector. He was also a father. His son Wu Jin had been visiting his cousin on the colony when the attack happened. Wu Jin was 7 years old. Wu Jin was gone. Taemin stood in the colony's main square and looked at the gathered crowd. Thousands of parents, thousands of empty faces. He had come to give them hope, but he had none to give. The analysis was clear. The attackers were a species called the Vexari. They were old. They were powerful. They were part of the Galactic Council. "We will get our children back," Taemin said. His voice was steady. "I promise you this," but promises were cheap. Action was what mattered. Taemin sent a message to the Galactic Council. He sent evidence of the attack. He sent the names of every missing child. He demanded justice. He demanded the return of humanity's children. He demanded the Vexari be held accountable. The Council's response arrived 3 days later. It was short. It was final. It was unacceptable. The Vexari are a valued member of the Galactic Council. Their research is vital to the advancement of all species. The collection of juvenile specimens falls within their mandate. This is an internal matter. The Council will not intervene. These losses, while regrettable, are acceptable in the pursuit of greater knowledge. Acceptable losses. Those 2 words burned through human space like fire. Every colony received the message. Every human world saw the Council's response. They called the stolen children acceptable losses. They called the kidnapping research. They called 12,000 missing babies a mandate. Yoonji sat in her intelligence office and read the message again. Her younger brother Dongmin was among the taken. He was 6 years old. He liked to draw pictures of spaceships. He wanted to be a pilot when he grew up. The Council called him an acceptable loss. She pulled up everything the intelligence network had on the Vexari. They were old, yes. Powerful, yes. But not invincible. Nobody was invincible. She began to build a file. Vexari military strength. Vexari trade routes. Vexari allies. Vexari weaknesses. She worked through the night. When dawn came, she had a plan. It was brutal. It was total. It was necessary. Minseok received the emergency call while training new recruits. He was a tactical officer, responsible for teaching young soldiers how to fight. When he heard about the attack, he immediately requested transfer to Taeyang 7. His sister's 2 children had been visiting the colony. Both were gone now. His niece was 9. His nephew was 5. He arrived at the colony and met with Daewon. They had served together years ago. They were friends. Now they were something more. They were fathers who had failed to protect their children. They were soldiers with a mission. They were men with nothing left to lose. What do we do? Minseok asked. Daewon looked at him. We get them back. All of them. And we make sure this never happens again. The council won't help us. Then we do it ourselves. Admiral Taimin called a meeting of the United Earth Federation. Every human world sent representatives. Every colony sent their leaders. They gathered on Earth in the Great Hall where humanity made its most important decisions. Taimin stood before them and spoke. The Galactic Council has abandoned us. They call our children acceptable losses. They protect the monsters who took them. So we will withdraw from the Council. We will cut all ties. And we will do what they refuse to do. We will bring our children home. The hall was silent. Then someone stood. Then another. Then everyone. The vote was unanimous. Humanity would go to war. We will not stop until every child is home, Taimin continued. We will not negotiate. We will not compromise. The Vexari Empire will burn. They will learn what happens when you take humanity's children. They will learn that we do not forgive. We do not forget. And we do not leave our own behind. The declaration went out across human space within the hour. Every factory stopped normal production. Every shipyard began building warships. Every research center redirected to weapons development. Millions volunteered for military service. Parents who had never held a gun learned to shoot. Scientists who studied peaceful things learned to build bombs. Hana stood in her laboratory and looked at the crystal residue under a microscope. She had identified its composition. She had learned its properties. Now she was learning how to weaponize it. If the Vexari used this technology to take children, she would use it to destroy them. Every parent in human space had become a weapon pointed at a single target. The Vexari would learn the price of making humanity an enemy. Daewon reported for duty the next morning. He was assigned to form a new unit. They called it Wraith Division. Its mission was simple. Find the children. Bring them home. Kill anyone who stood in the way. He selected his team carefully. Every soldier was a parent. Every parent had lost a child. They trained harder than any unit in human history. They had no other purpose. They had no other goal. The war was coming. The Vexari did not know it yet. They thought themselves safe. They thought themselves untouchable. They thought humanity was weak. They were wrong. Humanity was not weak. Humanity was wounded. And a wounded animal was the most dangerous thing in the universe. The shipyards of Mars burned day and night. Welding torches lit up the darkness like artificial stars. Every dock, every bay, every construction platform worked without stopping. Ships took shape from raw metal and human rage. Warships, carriers, destroyers. Humanity had always been good at building. Now they built for war. Hana worked in a laboratory buried 3 miles beneath the surface of Europa. She had not slept in 40 hours. She did not care. Sleep was a luxury for people whose children were safe. Her team had grown to 300 scientists. They called themselves Project Reaper. Their mission was simple: make weapons that could kill the Vexari, make weapons that could break their ships, make weapons that would bring the children home. We need something they have never seen before, Hana told her team. The Vexari have fought wars for 10,000 years. They know every weapon the Council species use. We need to surprise them. A young engineer named Jiwoo spoke up. What? About quantum phase missiles. Theory says they can pass through shields. Theory is not enough, Hana said. Build it. Test it. If it works, we mass produce it. Within 2 weeks, they had a working prototype. Within a month, factories across human space were producing quantum phase missiles by the thousands. These weapons did not hit shields. They passed through them like ghosts and detonated inside the target ship. No defense could stop them. The Vexari would learn this the hard way. But Hana wanted more. She studied the crystal residue left behind during the abduction. The Vexari used it to transport people. Maybe humans could use it to destroy. She experimented day and night. Her hands were burned from accidents. Her eyes were bloodshot from staring at screens. But she kept working. For Bora. For all the children. For revenge. One night she succeeded. She created a neuroshock bomb. It used Vexari crystal technology to send a pulse that knocked out their nervous systems without killing them. This was important. The children were being held in Vexari facilities. Any weapon that could not distinguish between enemy and hostage was useless. The neuroshock bomb could disable every Vexari in a building while leaving the children unharmed. Perfect, Daewon said when she showed him the test results. We can use this. Daewon had his own problems to solve. Wraith Division needed training. They needed equipment. They needed to become the most dangerous rescue force in the galaxy. He pushed his soldiers harder than any training program in human history. 20-hour days, live fire exercises, 0 mistakes tolerated. Some soldiers broke under the pressure. Those who remained were something new, something terrifying. Min Seok designed new armor for the division. It was light. It was strong. It made soldiers almost invisible using advanced camouflage technology. The Vexari would not see them coming. They called it Phantom Strike Armor. Soldiers who wore it could walk through enemy territory like ghosts, like death itself. Every soldier gets a list, Daewon announced one morning. He handed out data pads. Each one contained names and faces, children. Their children. The children they were sworn to rescue. Memorize these faces. These are who we fight for. These are why we exist. We do not stop until every name on this list comes home. The soldiers studied their lists in silence. Some cried. Some prayed. All of them made promises to the faces on their screens. Silent promises. Deadly promises. While weapons and soldiers were being prepared, Yoonji worked on intelligence. She needed to know everything about the Vexari. Where they lived, how they fought, what they feared. She created a network of spies and informants. Some were humans living in neutral space. Some were aliens who hated the Vexari. Some were criminals who worked for money. She did not care who they were as long as they provided information. The information came slowly at first, then faster. The Vexari Empire controlled 47 star systems. Their military had 12,000 warships. They were protected by automated defense platforms around every major world. But they had weaknesses. Every empire did. The Vexari biology requires a specific atmosphere, one report said. Extended time away from their core systems weakens them. Yoonji highlighted this information and sent it to Admiral Taemin. If the Vexari had biological weaknesses, humanity would exploit them. Every advantage mattered. Every weakness would be used. But the most important intelligence came from an unexpected source. A smuggler named Jae Sung had contacts deep in Vexari space. He owed humanity nothing. But when Yoonji offered him money and showed him pictures of the taken children, something changed in his eyes. Maybe he had a conscience. Maybe he had children of his own. Either way, he agreed to help. Jae Sung spent 3 months infiltrating Vexari territory. He posed as a traitor. He bribed officials. He stole data. When he finally returned, he brought something invaluable. A complete map of Vexari child processing facilities, 5 planets, 17 major installations, estimated locations of every captured child from every species. The main facility is on Vex Prime, Jae Sung explained, pointing at the map. Their homeworld. That is where they keep the majority of subjects. Security there is extreme. Automated weapons, biological locks, neural suppression fields to keep the children compliant. Can we break in? Yoonji asked. Maybe. But you would need to control the orbital space first. And to do that, you would need to destroy their fleet. The Vexari have never lost a major battle. They are old. They are experienced. So were the dinosaurs, Yoonji said coldly. Being old does not make you invincible. It just means you have more to lose. Admiral Taman gathered all the information. He studied the maps. He reviewed the weapon specifications. He analyzed the training reports. Then he built a war plan. It was brutal. It was methodical. It would cost human lives, but it would bring the children home. The plan had 3 phases. Phase 1 was to strike the outer systems, test the Vexari defenses, learn their tactics, rescue any children held in frontier facilities. Phase 2 was to push deeper into their territory, destroy their military capacity, eliminate their ability to resist. Phase 3 was the final assault on Vex Prime itself. Break through their defenses, rescue the children, destroy the Empire. How long will this take? Someone asked during the briefing. As long as necessary, Taman replied. We do not have a deadline. We have a mission. We bring every child home. We accept nothing less than total success. 6 months after the abduction, humanity was ready. 300 new warships had been built. Quantum phase missiles filled the armories. Neuroshock bombs were loaded onto assault transports. Wraith Division stood ready. Every soldier was equipped. Every weapon was tested. Every plan was reviewed. The night before departure, Day One stood before his division. 2,000 soldiers in Phantom Strike armor. 2,000 parents who had lost children. 2,000 weapons aimed at the Vexari Empire. Tomorrow we go to war, he said. His voice was quiet, but it carried to every soldier. We fight against an enemy who thinks we are weak. An enemy who took our children and called it research. An enemy who believes they are untouchable. We will prove them wrong. He paused, looked at each face, saw his own pain reflected in every eye. We do not forgive. We do not forget. We do not leave our own behind. We bring our children home, and we burn their empire to ash. This is our oath. This is our purpose. This is who we are. The soldiers raised their fists in unison. No cheering, no shouting. Just silence and determination. The kind of silence that came before terrible violence. The kind of determination that broke empires. Across human space, similar scenes played out. Pilots climbed into their fighters. Engineers made final checks on weapon systems. Doctors prepared medical bays for the wounded. Everyone had a role. Everyone had a purpose. Bring the children home. Make the Vexari pay. Hana watched the fleet preparations from her laboratory. She had created weapons that would kill thousands, maybe millions. She did not feel guilty. The Vexari had taken her daughter. They had taken 12,000 human children. They had taken juveniles from dozens of species across centuries. They called it science. She called it evil. And evil had to be destroyed. Her last creation sat in a secure vault. She called it the World Breaker Protocol, a series of quantum bombs designed to destroy an entire planet. She hoped they would never use it. But if the Vexari refused to surrender, if they refused to return the children, then Hana would use every weapon at her disposal. Even that one. Especially that one. The Galactic Council sent a final message the night before humanity's fleet departed. It was a warning. Military action against a Council member species will result in sanctions. You will be isolated. You will be branded as aggressors. Reconsider this path. Admiral Taman read the message and deleted it without responding. The Council had made their choice. They chose to protect child slavers. Humanity chose differently. Let the Council brand them as aggressors. Let them impose sanctions. None of it mattered. Only the children mattered. Only bringing them home mattered. Only justice mattered. The fleet launched at dawn. 300 warships, 15,000 fighters, 200 assault transports carrying Wraith Division. They moved through hyperspace like a storm. Destination: the Vexari frontier world of Krell 9. The war had begun. The Vexari defense commander at Krell 9 watched the human fleet emerge from hyperspace with something close to amusement. The primitives had actually come. They had declared war on one of the oldest empires in the galaxy. It was almost sad. Almost. The commander activated the defense grid and sent a message to his fleet. Engage and destroy. Leave no survivors. The Council must see what happens to species who challenge their betters. 600 Vexari warships moved into formation. Their crystalline hulls refracted the light of Krell 9's sun, creating a display of terrible beauty. They had fought wars for 10,000 years. They had never lost. Today would be no different. The humans would learn. The humans would burn. The humans would beg for mercy. They were wrong about everything. Admiral Taman watched the Vexari fleet approach. He saw their perfect formations. He saw their shields activate. He saw their weapons power up. He had studied every Vexari battle in recorded history. He knew their tactics. He knew their strategies. He knew how they thought, and he knew exactly how to kill them. All ships, he said calmly. Execute Broken Arrow. The human fleet split into 3 groups. One group accelerated directly toward the Vexari center. Suicide charge, the Vexari commander thought. Predictable. He concentrated his fire on the charging ships. But these ships did not fire back. They simply flew forward, weaving through Vexari fire. Then they exploded. Not from weapons, from overloading their reactors. The explosions created a cloud of debris and radiation. The Vexari sensors went blind. Their targeting systems lost lock. In that moment of confusion, the real attack began. From above and below, the remaining human ships fired, but not energy weapons, not missiles that the Vexari could see coming. Nuclear mines deployed in their flight paths. Railgun slugs fired at near light speed. Quantum phase missiles that passed through shields like they did not exist. The Vexari fleet died in minutes. Ships exploded from the inside as quantum missiles detonated in their reactor cores. Railgun slugs punched through hulls designed to withstand energy weapons. Nuclear mines caught entire squadrons in expanding fireballs. The Vexari tried to return fire, but their weapons were designed for different enemies. For enemies who fought like civilized species, humans did not fight fair. Humans fought to win. Status, Admiral Taman requested. Enemy fleet destroyed. We lost 17 ships, mostly the suicide group. Orbital defenses are firing but ineffective. We have space superiority. 40 minutes. That was how long it took humanity to destroy a fleet that had defended Krell 9 for 300 years. 40 minutes to prove that age and experience meant nothing against raw determination and innovative tactics. 40 minutes to send a message to the Vexari Empire. You are not invincible. You are not safe. We are coming. Admiral Taman opened a communication channel. He broadcast on all Vexari frequencies. Every ship, every station, every world in their empire would hear this message. This is Admiral Taman of the United Earth Federation. You took our children. You called them acceptable losses. You refused to return them, so we have come to take them back. This is your only warning. Release every child you have taken from every species. Face justice for your crimes, or watch your empire burn. You have 1 week to respond. Use it wisely. The response came within hours. The Vexari High Council broadcast their own message. You are primitives. You cannot threaten the collective. Your attack was fortunate. It will not happen again. Return to your space before we are forced to destroy you. Taman read the message and smiled coldly. They want to play tough, fine. Launch ground assault. Show them what humanity does to child slavers. Day 1 stood in the assault transport bay with Wraith Division, 2,000 soldiers in Phantom Strike armor. Each one carried enough weapons to level a building. Each one had memorized the faces of children they were here to save. The transport shook as it entered Krell 9's atmosphere. Anti-aircraft fire exploded around them, but the transport's shields held. They were going in hot. Remember the objective, Day 1 said over the squad channel. We are here for the children. Everything else is secondary. We use neuroshock bombs to disable defenders without harming hostages. We move fast. We move quiet. We bring every child home. The transport landed a mile from the target, a Vexari research facility built into the side of a mountain. Intelligence said it held 200 children from various species. Intelligence also said it was defended by automated weapons and a garrison of 300 Vexari soldiers. Wraith Division had faced worse odds in training. This was what they had prepared for. The advance team moved first. Minsok led them. His Phantom Strike armor made him nearly invisible. The automated weapons did not see him. The Vexari sensors did not detect him. He moved through their defenses like smoke. When he reached the outer wall, he planted breaching charges and activated them remotely. The wall exploded inward. Wraith Division poured through the breach. The Vexari garrison responded immediately. They fired energy weapons. They activated defensive barriers. They called for reinforcements. None of it mattered. Human soldiers moved with terrible efficiency. They threw neuroshock bombs into every room. Vexari defenders collapsed unconscious but alive. The automated weapons were destroyed with precision fire. Within 15 minutes, the facility was secured. Daewon moved through the corridors, checking each room. He found laboratories filled with medical equipment, holding cells designed for children, computers containing research data. Everything he saw made him angrier. These were not researchers. These were monsters. They had taken children and treated them like laboratory animals. They had justified it as science. They had felt no guilt. "Captain, we found them," a voice said over the radio. "Lower level. Cell Block 7, Daewon ran. He burst through the door of Cell Block 7 and stopped. Rows of cells. Children in each one. Human children. Alien children. All of them thin. All of them scared. All of them staring at the armed soldiers with confusion and hope. "We are here to take you home," Daewon said gently. He removed his helmet so they could see his face. "You are safe now. I promise." He searched the faces. "Looking for Bora, please let her be here. Please let his daughter be among these children." But she was not. A girl who looked similar. Same age, same hair color, but not his Bora. Daewon felt his heart break a little more, but he pushed the pain down. These children needed him. Someone's daughter was here, someone's son. They all deserved to go home. Medical teams arrived and began examining the children. Most were malnourished. Many showed signs of drug use to keep them compliant. All of them would need extensive care. But they were alive. They were free. That was what mattered. Facility secure, Minseok reported. 212 children recovered. 67 human. The rest are from 6 different species. All alive? What are your orders? Daewon looked around the facility. At the cells. At the laboratories. At the equipment used to torture children in the name of research. His decision was immediate. Evacuate all children and our wounded. Then level this place. I want nothing left but rubble. 30 minutes later, the children were safe aboard transport ships. Wraith Division withdrew. Demolition charges activated. The facility vanished in a series of explosions that could be seen from orbit. The Vexari sent reinforcements, but they arrived too late. They found only smoking ruins and a message spray-painted on a remaining wall in 3 languages, including Vexari. "We are coming for our children. We are coming for you." Back on the flagship, Admiral Taemin met with the rescued children. He walked among them, speaking gently, asking their names, promising they would see their families soon. When he came to a small Kalroth child, the reptilian juvenile looked up at him with large eyes. "Are you here to save us all?" the child asked. "Or just the human ones?" Taemin knelt down to the child's level. "All of you. Every single child taken by the Vexari. We will not stop until every one of you goes home." The child nodded slowly. "My people said nobody would come. They said we were lost forever." "Your people were wrong," Taemin said. "We came, and we will keep coming until every child is free." News of the Krell 9 battle spread across the galaxy within days. The Galactic Council held an emergency session. They condemned humanity's aggression. They demanded an immediate ceasefire. They threatened sanctions and economic isolation. Their message was clear. The humans had gone too far. They must be stopped. Humanity's response was broadcast to every species in the galaxy. Admiral Taemin stood before the camera, his face hard. Behind him stood some of the rescued children. "The Galactic Council condemns us for rescuing these children. They call us aggressors for fighting against child slavers. They threaten us with isolation for demanding justice. Very well, we accept your condemnation. We accept your isolation. We will continue our mission regardless. To any species who has lost children to the Vexari, we offer this promise. We will find them. We will bring them home. Stand with us or stand aside. But do not try to stop us," the broadcast ended. Within hours, 3 species withdrew from the Galactic Council. The Kalroth, whose children had been taken for centuries. The Thrix, who had secretly opposed the Vexari for years. The Selkari, who believed in justice above politics. They contacted humanity and offered their support. Their fleets. Their resources. Their soldiers. The war had just begun. But already 18 months. That was how long the war lasted. 18 months of relentless advance. 18 months of system after system falling to the human-led coalition. 18 months of the Vexari Empire learning what happened when you made humanity an enemy. After Krell 9, the Vexari prepared for conventional warfare. They reinforced their systems. They built more ships. They trained their soldiers to fight like the Council races fought. Orderly battles. Honorable tactics. Civilized warfare. But humanity did not fight wars the way the Council did. Humanity fought to win. Every advantage was used. Every weakness was exploited. Every rule was broken if it meant bringing the children home. At the Battle of Shenvi Nebula, the Vexari positioned a massive fortress station at the nebula's edge. It controlled 3 jump routes into their inner systems. Taking it conventionally would cost thousands of ships. Admiral Taman looked at the problem differently. The nebula was full of radiation that disrupted sensors. Perfect cover. He sent the fleet through the nebula itself, using the radiation as camouflage. The Vexari saw nothing until human ships emerged point-blank from their fortress station. The battle lasted 7 minutes. The station was captured intact. 2,000 Vexari prisoners were taken. More importantly, 600 children were freed from holding facilities inside the station. Among them was Wu Jin, Admiral Taemin's son. The boy had been held for 20 months. He was thin. He was traumatized. But he was alive. Taemin held his son and cried for the first time since the war began. "Did you come for just me?" Wu Jin asked quietly. "I came for all of you," Taemin replied, "and we will not stop until every child is home." But the war was not without cost. During the siege of Orthos 4, the Vexari tried a new tactic. They used their own captured children as shields. They put human and alien juveniles on their warships. They broadcast images of the children and demanded humanity cease fire. It was brutal. It was effective. Human ships held their fire. Min Seok solved the problem with something he called ghost fleets, unmanned drone ships that mimicked human signatures. The Vexari concentrated their fire on the drones while the real fleet struck from unexpected angles. Boarding parties teleported directly onto Vexari ships using experimental technology. They secured the children first. Then they killed every Vexari who had used children as shields. No prisoners, no mercy. The message was clear. Using children as weapons would not save the Vexari. It would only make humanity angrier. The siege of Orthos 4 cost humanity dearly. Min Seok died holding a corridor so medical teams could evacuate rescued children. He was shot 12 times. He refused to fall until the last child was safe. When his body was recovered, he was still standing. Still holding the line. Daewon attended his funeral and swore his friend's sacrifice would not be forgotten. Every child they saved from Orthos 4 learned Min Seok's name. They learned what he did. They learned that humanity's soldiers gave everything to bring them home. Hana continued developing weapons. Each battle revealed new Vexari tactics. Each tactic required new counters. At the crystalline yards where the Vexari built their ships, she deployed a sonic resonance weapon. Vexari ships were made of living crystal, beautiful, strong, but vulnerable to specific frequencies. Hana's weapon made their ships tear themselves apart from the inside. The yards were captured in hours. 3,000 children were freed. The Vexari shipbuilding capacity was reduced by 40%, but Hana paid a price too. She worked constantly. She slept 3 hours a night. She ate when someone forced her to. Her only focus was weapons. More weapons. Better weapons. Weapons that would end the war faster. Weapons that would bring Bo-Ra home. Her colleagues worried. Her husband Daewon worried. But nobody could stop her. She was driven by guilt and love and rage, a terrible combination that produced terrible weapons. Yoonji recovered from her captivity slowly. She had been captured during a reconnaissance mission 6 months into the war. The Vexari held her for 3 weeks. They used neural interrogation. They extracted information from her mind while she screamed. When Wraith Division rescued her, she was broken. But she refused to quit. She returned to duty after 2 months of rehabilitation. Her experience made her more valuable, not less. She knew how the Vexari thought. She knew their interrogation methods. She knew their weaknesses. "They fear us," she told Admiral Taemin during a briefing. "They will never admit it. But they fear us. They have fought wars for 10,000 years. They have never faced an enemy like humanity. An enemy that does not accept defeat. An enemy that does not negotiate. An enemy that will burn their entire civilization for the sake of their children." "Good," Taemin replied. "Fear will make them careless. Careless enemies make mistakes." The coalition grew. The Kalroth committed their entire fleet after humanity rescued 300 Kalroth juveniles. The reptilian warriors were fierce. They were honorable. They were grateful. They had believed their children lost forever. Humanity proved them wrong. The Kalroth repaid that debt in blood. Wherever human forces fought, Kalroth ships fought beside them. The Thrix provided biological weapons that targeted Vexari physiology specifically. Toxins that dissolved their crystalline cellular structure, viruses that attacked their nervous systems. The Thrix were scientists. They knew how to kill efficiently. They shared that knowledge freely. The Selkari monitored Vexari communications through their deep space network. They provided intelligence on fleet movements, supply routes, civilian evacuation plans. Every piece of information helped. Every advantage mattered. Together, the coalition pushed deeper into Vexari space. System by system, station by station, world by world, each victory brought more children home. Each battle cost lives, human lives. Kalroth lives, Thrix lives, Selkari lives, but nobody quit. Nobody suggested negotiation. The mission was clear. Free the children, destroy the Empire. Accept nothing less than total victory. The Vexari tried diplomacy. They offered to return the human children if humanity ceased hostilities. Admiral Taman rejected the offer immediately. All children, from all species, across all your history, or we continue. The Vexari refused. They would not admit to centuries of crimes. They would not face justice. So the war continued. The Vexari tried deception. They sent false intelligence about child locations. They laid traps. They ambushed rescue forces. Some of these traps worked. Humanity lost ships, lost soldiers, lost time. But they learned. They adapted. They became more careful, more paranoid, more deadly. The Vexari could not trick an enemy that trusted nothing and verified everything. The Vexari tried terror. They threatened to kill captive children if humanity did not withdraw. They broadcast images of children in danger. They demanded humanity choose between saving face and saving lives. But humanity did not negotiate with terrorists. Wraith Division launched immediate rescue operations. They moved faster. They fought harder. They accepted higher risks. Most of the threatened children were saved. Those who died were not forgotten. Their names were added to the list. The list of reasons why the Vexari Empire had to be destroyed completely. After 16 months, the coalition controlled 38 of the Vexari's 47 systems. More than 8,000 children had been rescued and returned to their families. The Vexari Empire was collapsing. Their economy was destroyed. Their military was broken. Their allies had abandoned them. Only 9 systems remained. And at the heart of those 9 systems was Vex Prime, the homeworld, the seat of Vexari power, the place where most of the remaining children were held. Admiral Tamin gathered his commanders for the final planning session. The holographic display showed Vex Prime and its defenses, planetary shields, orbital defense platforms, 10,000 warships, 1 billion Vexari willing to fight to the last. Taking the planet would be the bloodiest battle of the war. But there was no choice. The children were there. Victory was there. Justice was there. We have one advantage, Yunji said. The Vexari believe their homeworld is impregnable. They have fortified it beyond reason. But that fortress mentality makes them predictable. They will concentrate everything at Threshold Gate, the final defensive position before Vex Prime. If we break through there, the path to the homeworld is open. How many ships do they have at Threshold Gate? Someone asked. 10,000, Yunji replied. The entire remaining Vexari fleet. And we have? Admiral Tamin asked. 3,000. Counting all coalition forces. The room was silent. 3,000 against 10,000. Bad odds, terrible odds. But not impossible. Nothing was impossible when fighting for your children. We use everything we have, Tamin said finally. Every weapon. Every tactic. Every advantage. We feint, we deceive. We sacrifice. And we win. Because there is no alternative. Those children have waited long enough. It is time to bring them home. Daewon looked at the tactical display, at the numbers, at the odds, at the plan that would cost hundreds of ships and thousands of lives. But it would also free the remaining children. It would end the war. It would deliver justice. He thought of Bora, somewhere on Vex Prime, waiting, hoping, believing her father would come. When do we attack? He asked. Tomorrow, Admiral Tamin said. We end this tomorrow. That night, every soldier in the coalition. Threshold Gate was not a place. It was a concept. A wall of ships and weapons and determination that said, "You shall not pass." 10,000 Vexari warships arranged in perfect defensive formation. Behind them, Vex Prime. Ahead of them, the human-led coalition. 3,000 ships, terrible odds. But humanity had faced terrible odds before. Admiral Tamin stood on the bridge of his flagship and looked at the tactical display. Red markers representing enemy ships filled the screen. So many, too many. But numbers were not everything. The Vexari fought to protect their empire. Humanity fought to save their children. There was a difference, a fundamental difference that would decide this battle. "All ships," he said quietly. "This is it. Everything we have done, everyone we have lost, all of it leads to this moment. Behind that fleet is Vex Prime. On that world are our children. Today we bring them home. Today we end this charge." The coalition fleet accelerated toward the Vexari defensive line. Maximum speed, direct approach. Suicidal, the Vexari commanders thought. They had expected humans to be clever, to use tricks. Instead, they charged like barbarians. The Vexari concentrated their fire. Thousands of energy weapons opened up. Space lit up with deadly light. Human ships died. Dozens, then hundreds. Their shields collapsed. Their hulls melted. Their reactors exploded. The Vexari cheered. The primitives were throwing themselves to death. Victory was certain, but then the human formation changed. The charging ships were not the entire fleet. They were the bait, the sacrifice. The faint from above and below stealth carriers emerged. They had been hidden in the battle's chaos, invisible, waiting. Now they struck, not at the Vexari fleet, at the command ships. Boarding pods launched. Wraith Division soldiers hit the Vexari command vessels like hammers. They teleported directly onto bridge sections. They moved through corridors in their phantom strike armor. Invisible, unstoppable, deadly. Day One led the assault on the flagship. His team materialized in the command center, while the Vexari crew was focused on the battle outside. They did not see the humans until it was too late. Neuroshock grenades detonated. The Vexari collapsed. Day One walked to the admiral's chair and put his pistol to the unconscious commander's head. "Wake him up," he ordered. A medic injected stimulants. The Vexari admiral's eyes opened. He looked around in confusion, at the humans in his command center, at the weapons pointed at him, at his unconscious crew. "You have one chance," Day One said calmly.
"Order your fleet to stand down.
"Or I execute every commander we captured and let your forces die leaderless." "You are bluffing," the admiral said. "You humans have rules, ethics. You would not execute prisoners." Day One shot the admiral's second-in-command in the head. The body collapsed. The admiral stared in shock. "That was your second chance," Day One said. "You do not get a third. Order the stand down now." The admiral gave the order. Across the battlefield, Vexari ships received the command. "Stand down. Cease fire. Surrender." Some obeyed immediately. Others hesitated. But with their commanders captured or dead, coordination collapsed. The perfect defensive formation became chaos. Human ships exploited the confusion. They struck at weapons platforms, at shield generators, at propulsion systems. Not to kill, to disable, to capture. Within 40 minutes, the Battle of Threshold Gate was over. 2,000 Vexari ships were captured. 3,000 were destroyed. The rest fled toward Vex Prime. The coalition lost 800 ships, 20,000 soldiers, but the path was open. The final target lay ahead. Vex Prime appeared on the view screens as the coalition fleet approached. It was beautiful. Crystalline cities reflected sunlight in rainbow colors. Orbital rings sparkled like jewelry. Gardens visible from space glowed with bioluminescence. It was the jewel of the Vexari Empire, the heart of a civilization 10,000 years old. And somewhere on that world, thousands of children waited to be saved. "Planetary shields are active," the sensor officer reported. "Defense platforms are charging weapons, detecting massive troop concentrations around major cities. They are preparing for ground assault." Admiral Tamin opened a communication channel. "One final offer. One last chance. This is Admiral Tamin to Vex Prime. Your fleet is destroyed. Your empire is gone. You have one option remaining. Surrender. Release all captive children. Face justice for your crimes, or we will come down there and take them. Your civilization can survive this, but only if you surrender now." The response came from the Vexari High Council. Their voices were cold, arrogant, unrepentant. "We are the Vexari. We have ruled for 10,000 years. We will rule for 10,000 more. You are primitives. You are nothing. Come to our world and die." Taman closed the channel. He looked at Hana, who had brought the World Breaker Protocol to the flagship. The ultimate weapon. The planet killer. The device that could crack Vex Prime like an egg and end the Vexari civilization forever. She held the activation codes. She waited for the order. "Not yet," Taman said. "The children are down there. We get them first. Then we decide." The ground assault began at dawn. Wraith Division and Kalroth shock troops hit the surface in 1,000 locations simultaneously. They targeted every known child-holding facility. They moved fast. They moved hard. They accepted casualties that would make any military academy weep. But they kept moving, because every minute of delay was another minute the children suffered. Day-Wan led the assault on the Central Processing Cathedral. The main facility, the place where intelligence said most of the children were held. It was defended by automated weapons, by biological guardians, by Vexari soldiers willing to die rather than surrender. The cathedral was built like a fortress. Taking it would cost everything. Day-Wan's team breached the outer wall with plasma charges. The explosion was visible from orbit. They poured through the breach. Behind them came medical teams, engineers, search and rescue specialists, everyone who could help find and evacuate children. The Vexari defenders fought with desperate fury. They knew they were losing. They knew their empire was dying. But they would make humanity pay for every inch. The fighting was brutal. Close quarters. No room for strategy, just violence and determination. Human soldiers died in hallways holding the line. Kalroth warriors threw themselves onto automated weapons to clear paths. Thrix combat medics treated wounded while under fire. The cathedral was a meat grinder, but they kept advancing. Yunji found her sister in a medical ward. The girl was in a coma, neural damage from experiments. Yunji knelt beside the bed and held her sister's hand. Tears ran down her face. But there was no time for grief, not yet. She called for a medical team and moved on. Other children needed help. Other families needed hope. Deep in the cathedral, Day-Wan reached the main holding chamber. A vast hall. Rows of suspension pods stretching into the darkness. Each pod held a child, thousands of children, from dozens of species, all floating in nutrient fluid, all connected to neural extraction machines. All waiting. Waiting for someone to save them. Waiting for hope. Day-Wan ran through the rows, reading names on each pod, searching, desperate. Please let her be here. Please let Bora be alive, please. Then he saw her. Pod 773. His daughter. Her eyes closed. Her body thin. But alive. Still alive. He activated the emergency release. The pod drained. Bora fell forward. He caught her, held her. For the first time in 20 months, he held his daughter. Her eyes opened slowly, confused, scared. Then recognition. "Daddy?" she whispered. "I have got you," he said. His voice broke. "I have got you. You are safe now. You are coming home." Around him, other soldiers were opening pods, finding their own children, finding other families' children. Medical teams moved through the hall, checking vitals, treating injuries, preparing for evacuation. The operation was smooth, practiced. They had done this before, but never on this scale, never with this many children. This was the moment everything had been for. This was why they came. "Status report," Day-Wan said into his radio while holding Bora. "We have the main holding chamber, 8,000 children. Beginning evacuation now. Reports came in from other teams. More children found. More facilities secured. By noon, every known holding facility on Vex Prime had been breached. More than 12,000 children were being evacuated. Human. Kalroth. Thrix. Selkari. Species humanity had never heard of. All of them victims of the Vexari. All of them going home. But the Vexari were not finished. Their High Council activated a final defense. Not military, biological. They released a plague into the atmosphere. A weapon designed to kill every non-Vexari on the planet. Children, soldiers, everyone. If the Vexari could not keep their prisoners, they would kill them. Scorched Earth, final vengeance. Detecting biological agent in the atmosphere, a medical officer reported. Lethal to all carbon-based life except Vexari. We have maybe 6 hours before it reaches fatal concentration. Speed up the evacuation, Admiral Tamin ordered. Get every child off that planet now, and prepare the Worldbreaker Protocol. Hana looked at him. The protocol will destroy the entire planet. Every Vexari, their cities, their culture, everything. They just tried to kill every child we came to save, Tamin said quietly. They chose this. Not us, them. Prepare the weapon. The evacuation became a race against time. Transport ships loaded children and lifted off every few minutes.